Hi YouTube friends, it's Anna. I'm making another video for the series that I call What an INFJ Thinks About Other Types. So today we will be talking about my thoughts and experiences with the ENFJ type. So what is this series about? It's about me as an INFJ sharing my experiences with other types. And it's not really concentrated on providing you with a nice story about each and every type. It's really meant as a sincere, real depiction of how I see people of other types as an INFJ, to explore together the dynamic that an INFJ has with other personality types. And the disclaimer that I always give is that I will not only say the nice things about other types, I will also give criticism. And with some types I get along better than with others. So you may find that in one video about one type I am more critical, more negative perhaps than in another. So if you come here to just listen to nice things, then maybe click away. But I hope you are on board for some realness. The ENFJ, that is a type that I have more mixed feelings about. I have both extremely positive experiences as well as extremely negative experiences, you could say. And the ENFJ is a type that I come across pretty frequently in my life. It is also a type that I have dated. I have been in a relationship with an ENFJ, so I might get into that a little bit, what that was like. And I do feel in general that ENFJs play an important role in my life. Sometimes, usually positive, but sometimes also negative. I think there is a high level of understanding between me and ENFJs because we notice that we are quite similar. We have kind of the same way of thinking, similar values, perhaps, though not always. But we do have a very different way of dealing with things, because ENFJs are much more open and impulsive than me as an INFJ I am. So ENFJs, I have heard them say they admire my kind of calm, more quiet power, as you could call it, because like whatever you want to say about me, I am not a loud person, and I'm not a person that says too much in general. I use my words more sparingly, and I think very carefully about what I say, and that's how I am very different from ENFJs. And I think sometimes they have been like, wow, you are so contained, and ENFJs have even told me that they thought I was very wise. But at the same time, some ENFJs, they don't understand the reservations that I have as an INFJ. ENFJs, I see them as much less complicated socially, because they just want to be around people, and they are really good with people, even people that they don't know. ENFJs are considered by some to be the most social type. I think a lot of people would agree on that, perhaps together with the ESFJ, but ENFJs are better at performing in social situations, perhaps, than an ESFJ. So an ENFJ is just really skilled socially. And they always want to be surrounded by people, and they are very impulsive, very open, very free. And the INFJ, like me, we are quite different in that, because our relationship with people is a bit difficult sometimes. On one side, we really, really crave deep connection with people, and we really need people around us and people that are loyal to us, and we definitely want to be surrounded by good friends, people that we can trust. But on the other hand, we're also quite reserved, a bit closed off, and we find it hard to trust people and to open up. So there's always kind of a challenge to find the middle between those things. And the ENFJ doesn't really get that, because they just want to be around people. So I felt maybe a bit misunderstood in that regard by them. But, like I said, again, the thing that we are similar, yet we have different ways of dealing with things, that can also make ENFJs an interesting source of inspiration for me. Because hey, I am similar to you, yet you deal with things differently. You have a different strategy to go about life, and maybe I can try out your way as well. And I think potentially INFJs can become a bit more open and spontaneous if they copy that behavior from the ENFJ. So in that way, ENFJs can mentor INFJs a little bit, and perhaps also the other way around, I don't know. Another very positive thing that I've experienced with ENFJs is that I experienced that there is a lot of trust between us, me and ENFJs. I feel very comfortable around them, very natural, like I can be myself around them. So I feel comfortable most of the time around them. The only situation in which I would not feel comfortable with them is if they tried to push me out of my comfort zone because they project themselves onto me. So that relates to that they don't understand my more quiet nature and my struggles socially. So let's move on to a more negative side of how I see and how I've experienced ENFJs. Because it is definitely there for me. And it really depends on the person whether that is a thing or not. I guess you could call it their level of maturity, as people within the MBTI community like to call it. So I think ENFJs, they can be very arrogant. They can have a lot of hypocrisy, and sometimes they are very, very bad listeners. They can listen to your feelings, but it is very hard for them to listen to your opinion. They are very prone to having an echo chamber within themselves and not being open to any criticism or any differing opinion from theirs. They only want to be praised, basically, in their thinking, even though their thinking is really not always that great at all. Because when you are in an echo chamber, there are going to be things inaccurate. I know one person that embodies that negative side of ENFJs very, very well, and they are a very good example for me to understand kind of that dark side of ENFJs. Other people, they have it just the slightest tiny bit, but this one, at least how I see it, he has a lot of those traits. ENFJs can also be very idealistic, and they are really convinced that people should live according to those idealistic ideas. But they can very easily change their mind about those ideals, or they can conveniently change their mind so that they are not a hypocrite all of a sudden or something. Like they change their minds when it's convenient for them. And they impose these ideals on other people, but they are not so they're not so critical about applying these ideas themselves, is what I've seen. But that's for the less mature ENFJs. So ENFJs are really good performers, and the whole way that they present themselves, their whole way of speaking, it's kind of like a theater show. And I don't mean that in a negative way per se, because they're just really great entertainers. They like to tell really big stories, and just deliver everything they do in the most pleasing way. And they're not necessarily fake about it, although they might exaggerate things to bring it across better. It's more that, like in their big performance, they feel like everybody has to listen that is in the room. They really take in all of the attention of everybody. And it doesn't feel like there is any room for me in that situation, because ENFJs are a lot louder than INFJs. They don't tune in to what is going on in a situation as much as INFJs do. Like they still do, but INFJs are extreme in that. And INFJs, they might stay quiet because they have doubts about whether something they want to say is appropriate or something. But ENFJs are comparatively loud. So while as an INFJ, I also really enjoy capturing the attention of people and telling stories, etc. I am a lot more careful about that, and the ENFJ will, almost always take that stage and not me. But again, still talking about the immature situation. So I would like to give some examples of ENFJs that are or were in my life, to illustrate what I have been saying, and maybe to add some more as well. So I think, one ENFJ that I met, he became a friend of mine. I met him in a community in Germany, where I was volunteering for a few years in total. And back in that time, I was quite a different me compared to now. I was much more closed than now. I had a lot of difficulty connecting with people because I was really afraid to show myself, and I just felt so weird. And that ENFJ friend, when I met him, it was really, really magical, because all of a sudden I heard him say the things that I was thinking, but that I was too afraid to say. So it was really a moment of wow, I am not the only one that is thinking these things. And suddenly I felt safe to speak out those thoughts that I was having as well. So those first conversations were really like, wow, on fire. Really amazing. I think, again, at least part of why I felt that way about him was because I felt the similarity between us. I think that's like exactly the kind of dynamic you would get if you had someone that was quite similar to you, but they were more extroverted, so they have similar thoughts to you, but they find it easier to speak those thoughts also. So that was really healing for me. That friendship, he really helped me to open up. And I also had a coach, a life coach, and she was able to help me a lot. Yeah, I think also because she understood me. And yeah, I felt like she was a really wise woman with very good advice. And I've gotten a lot out of her coaching, but we did get to a point where I really disagreed with an opinion that she had about something. And it was quite a big thing for me, a very philosophical thing. But sometimes these philosophical big questions, they can be really important to think about, because they are connected to many more practical things. And I think with a coach, it's really hard if you fundamentally disagree about something, because then their advice is not relating to you as much. So there would be a lot of resistance. And yeah, I really tried to explain my point of view to her, but I felt like in the end she was not willing to listen to what I had to say. And yeah, it didn't feel right for me anymore to get coached by her. But apart from that, it was a really great experience having her as a coach. Okay, so finally, maybe I will add a bonus one. I will talk about the romantic relationship that I have been in with an ENFJ, but I will try to find the middle between actually giving you information and being overly personal. This may be challenging, I don't know. But I think it's not so problematic, because I have probably said everything to him as well that I will say right here. So with him, with that ENFJ that I've been in a romantic relationship with, that started out as a friendship, and it was the deepest friendship imaginable, and we became really good friends in a really short time. And there was this really, really deep feeling of trust, really just being completely calm around him. And I think that feeling was mutual. It felt just really, really right. So yeah, that was there, the deep friendship. And I think it's almost a bit weird to feel such deep friendship with a person, and then you get to a point where you feel like this might be more. This might be more than just being friends. But I think looking back at that situation, I think it was always just friendly love that I felt towards him. But it was such friendly love that I got confused about my feelings. So yeah, nonetheless, quite personal. But less personal is that I don't think ENFJs and INFJs are compatible romantically. They can be really amazing friends, but that also only works if both of the people involved are very willing to learn and are very humble in a way. Like my ex-boyfriend, he was very, very humble, the most humble ENFJ that I know, which might have to do with his father. That was quite the opposite of him. So, there's also nurture. It's not only personality type. I think our particular nurture also made that it actually worked to be in that relationship for a few months. But in the end, I felt quite stuck. I felt like I didn't get enough challenge. I felt like there was more for me or something. So, the theory says that ENFJs and INFJs are not sexually compatible, so that would not make for a good romantic relationship. Well, it might make for a good friendly relationship. Okay, I think that was it for this video. ENFJs, I have very mixed feelings about them again. Some people are amazing, some ENFJs are amazing, other people I have more difficulties with. And yeah, if you like this video, please give it a like and consider subscribing to my channel. Oh my god. And do leave a comment if you feel like it. I really, really love reading the comments, so I appreciate if you do that. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye.